sur mon chemin, comme je suis bien, sans mettre un corps.
You are now listening to Femme Regard Podcast with Tessa Markle and Carolina Alvarez. Femme.
Hey, fam. It's been a minute. We have a lot of exciting things to tell you and explain why we've been on a little bit of hiatus and how busy we've been and exciting news that we have to share with you guys. So thank you to people who have already been listeners. We love you, fam. Like, seriously,
Love
you
you,
guys.
fam.
Like, you've sent us so many people that we've had on as guests. You've given us so much great feedback. We're just really grateful for you guys. And if you're a brand new listener, we're going to catch you up to speed with what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, lots of exciting things, but lots of lessons we've learned over the past few months. If you are brand new to listening to us, hi, catching us at one of the most chaotic times in our careers, but good things. We made a feature film, Sync, sci-fi thriller. Let's go. We finished that in August, and that was coinciding with a festival premiere, NoHo Cinefest, shout out. That was our premiere festival. That was in September. And so we were ramping up. These things happen, we've learned, where you get accepted into festivals sometimes before even finishing your film. And that was a strategy that we decided to just kind of go for because we felt like, why not? We don't want to miss out on great festivals. So we decided to go insane and like fly to a bunch and start learning. That's what we're going to cover today. Festival strategy, what we've learned from it. But we've been in the festival circuit now a few months in and are starting to learn and figure out our distribution strategy because, everyone's asking you, what's your distribution strategy? And you're like, obviously sell my film, duh. But there's just so much that goes into that and so many things you need to have prepared. So we're going to give you, as we always do, we're going to give you the latest and greatest updates that we have, and we're always learning and we're always fine-tuning. That's how it is on this show. So something we learned today could change in the future because filmmaking, like technology, is ever evolving. Leave it on that sync note.
Totally.
Oh my gosh, Sync in the background. Shout out.
I know, right? Guys, this is our poster. Let me tell everybody,
for those
see it
who
all.
are watching, because we are in the YouTube and Spotify video land.
Mm-hmm.
We have our fabulous poster in the background highlighted. Oh, so proud, fam. Yeah, Tessa,
we will get into, so we started our festival run, like you said, in September with our premiere. But before that, we were submitting to whatever festival's deadlines were coming up with our work in progress. Because basically, we just didn't want to miss the chance to hit up those festivals and wait until a full calendar year later. And a lot of festivals do accept work in progress, which we were really close by that point anyway. We knew we could get it done by the time the festival was happening. So that's kind of how we started. We definitely narrowed down a giant list of festivals into the ones that made sense for us. And what made sense for us was local festivals. Yes, there are some that we are traveling to and are willing to travel to, but we tried to really hit all the local ones, especially because that is expensive. They don't fly you out and put you up like they used to. And also genre.
You want to go to as many festivals. So strategy was, okay, even if it's not local, what cities do we have family in or places to stay, or it's just worth making the trek, which we'll get into some more. But that's exactly on locations, that was important to us.
Yeah. And then genre and other kind of specialty festivals, our film falls into the thriller sci-fi range. So anything that was oriented to that or horror was really big for us. Anything that's, especially for women filmmakers is really big to us. Technology focused, anything like that really applies to our film and it has that kind of niche, or at least that niche category, that was also something that really put festivals on our radar. And, price does have to be a part of it. I don't even want to tell you guys how much we spend. You can totally
Oh,
DM us and I will.
Awesome.
But I don't want to scare you guys. It costs a lot of money. It really does, because you're submitting to
Yeah.
probably at least over 20 festivals, if not closer to like the 50 range. And each of those festivals is going to range in price from like $10 to like $100 per submission, and if you don't get in, it's not like you get that money back. So it is an expensive process. It is definitely worth like narrowing down your choices and really kind of finessing your list.
Yeah, to spill the tea on that, I mean, strategies that you can do as a filmmaker to avoid high costs is to early bird submit. Get yourself a gold membership on Film Freeway, and that helps you save like kind of like $10 per submission ish here and there. It's nothing crazy, but again, those fees add up. So if you know you're going to apply to like 20 festivals, get the gold membership. It's like I think around $12-15, Tessa, for like the year, something
Like that, yeah.
not bad. Again, in the grand scheme, if you're saving about $10 to $15 per submission, that helps you save costs. And the gold membership. For us, we were like, okay, the festival is our PR, right? As filmmakers, that's going to be our number one marketing tool to grow an audience, to get sync out there and win some awards, which we're excited to say we have. And that's really where your press and your press is going to come from when you're just getting started and getting into it. So that's where we were like, okay, do we want to spend thousands of dollars on PR, or would we rather put this money to doing our own marketing, which is something you're going to keep hearing as an independent filmmaker? You are in charge of your marketing. And so we're like, okay, we're going to allocate that all to festivals and try to, manage the press and everything we can from there. And that's also why you want to go to these festivals, so you can continue to do press runs of that and get interviews and all of that.
Yeah. And then kind of the next step from there was, after we submitted these festivals and started getting notifications, okay, which ones do we actually want to go to? Because here's the thing, we had beforehand filtered out the ones that we were like, okay, I don't think this one makes sense for us, all of that. But a lot of festivals require a premiere status, whether that's like worldwide premiere, specific to the state, whatever. So you really have to play the game of, okay, I got accepted into this one, but if I go to this one, that means that I can't do this one. And that's kind of what I want to hold out for, and just really figuring that out. That was really tough for us in the very beginning. We did have to say no to a couple festivals. But you learn to work with it, because once we had our premiere, that was our Los Angeles premiere, which means we also have a California premiere, which means like, it takes out certain categories, but we're still available for like other state premieres, for example. So we ended up, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but we ended up in a couple hybrid festivals, which meant that we were just screening virtually. So we had asked those festivals if we could geo-block, meaning it will only be available in the places that we choose for it to be available. So for us, we like blocked out states that we were still holding out for premiere status in those states. So know that is a possibility, as many more festivals are going hybrid these days.
Yes, this was an extremely important lesson for us. Shout out to Kelly Lou Dennis, who gave us the guidance on what geo-blocking even was. I never heard of that term. And she was like, make sure if it's hybrid fest, you geo-block. And I was like, what does that mean? And to break that down further, say, for instance, you, like Tessa and I, for example, haven't yet screened in Canada or anywhere else internationally yet, outside of the US. If we opened up sync worldwide, we'll lose premiere status for places like Canada and anywhere internationally, like London, where you want to hold out a premiere for those regions that if you haven't screened there yet. So just know, like, again, even in certain states in the US, like Tess and I had mentioned, there are certain states that we are still holding out premiere status for, because they won't just straight up not accept your film. Like, that's just how certain of these festivals are, which, we can have another side chat about how that's not nice. But that is why you need to make sure either beforehand. If you notice it's a hybrid festival, you can email the festival director, or sometimes Tess and I are just too overwhelmed. We're like, we're going to just cross that bridge when we get there, because maybe we get into this festival, maybe we don't. Like, maybe that one, it's all a moving puzzle that you're constantly trying to put together, but you do want to protect your film and where it's screened, so that way, it doesn't just straight up you give away like it to all regions. So and to highlight why some plus sides of doing the hybrid fest that we've enjoyed is for friends and family who aren't in LA, that they've been able to screen sync. They've been able to support and vote for the project, which landed us a People's Choice Award at Brooklyn Sci-Fi Film Festival. Out of 200 films, like, we were able to shine in that one. And I think that was greatly, it was at large due to a hybrid screening of it. So really grateful for those opportunities. And we kind of now have found like a way to use that as a tool for us and as a way to get sync out there to people who aren't locals or are just in parts of the world that don't screen films as much.
Exactly. Should we tell them what fests we've been in now, what awards we've won? Like, let's little humble brag here, right?
Let's go. Let's live it up. Yeah. Want to start with NoHo? Let's go.
Yeah, let's start with NoHo. So we had our premiere official, first time screening at a festival at NoHo Cinefest, which highly recommend this festival. They're on the smaller side, but they put so much work into this festival. It's a really great opportunity to show your film to audiences, to network with people, and they were just great to connect with.
Yes, shout out to Gustavo, the festival director. For a smaller independent film fest, it's like I would say one of the best ones that we've so far been a part of. And I will say, like, I'm so happy we had our premiere there. I would say they definitely took care of us. We love that communication was done far in advance. So for a premiere, it was just such a wonderful experience. And again, that's all thanks to Gustavo and his team. So we were nominated for Best Director. Hello, let's fucking go. So that was another great way to kick off. And then we were shortly followed by Horror Origins. It's always a hard one to say.
I know, festival it's a tongue twister. Horror Origins.
Horror Origins festival. And that's a lovely, great little fest. We didn't get to go because, again, it was just overlapping our premiere. We were kind of tapped out at that moment, but they screened at a live theater. We had some friends show up there. Shout out to Parker for sending their relatives over there. So woo, we had a little audience.
Yeah.
You want to tell them what we won?
Yes, that is where we won Best VFX. So like, we were already excited just to be nominated in a festival, and then we're like, okay, like, yes, we got an award. That means like this is working, because sure, like some festivals actually do have cash prizes for awards. A lot of them is just, a laurel and like you get to say you won, but like that adds up because that looks really good when you're submitting to other festivals. It looks good when you're talking to people about distribution. Like, it's an exciting thing. It's not just to make you feel good. It actually looks good for your film.
Yes, I'll share more tea on that when we get through our not only awards but nominations. So for that festival, Tessa was also nominated for Best Actress. And we also were nominated for Best Feature Production Design. So shout out to Elle Mizell on that. Nominations, which I'll get into, is equally as important. So trophy, no cash reward. Getting nominations and winning awards like this is, as Tessa mentioned, really, really, it's the most valuable part. And I'll get into a little bit more of that. Moving on, I think
Brooklyn Sci-Fi was next, which was our first hybrid festival. So essentially they screened everything virtually, and then certain films got to be screened in person. But the virtual screening allowed all of our audience, everywhere that wasn't geo-blocked, to be able to get their ticket, tune in and watch and vote, which then allowed us to win People's Choice Award for that film festival. So
Yay! Yeah. People's Choice Award shows other distributors that you have an audience, that people watch your film. Like, you built that. People came, people saw. So sometimes I feel like you could think, oh, well, people just like voted. Your people, your audience voted. And that's
yeah.
so important. So, yay.
All right. And then next up, I believe, was We Make Movies, which is another festival in person here in LA. So that was, again, a great opportunity to get people there to see your film in person, which is, it's also just exciting. You know, you get those like step and repeat photos, red carpet photos, all that kind of stuff, you know, and it allows you to really connect with that community, because while connecting over email is great, when you get to talk to people in person, it just makes more of an impression, you know, which is again why we recommend going in person to as many of these festivals as you possibly can.
Yeah, exactly. And that also fell on my birthday weekend. So that was a super special way to celebrate and have people come out. Next, actually, while all this is happening, like, this is why we've been off the grid, y'all, because it's like back to back. In between, like, the Brooklyn and We Make Movies, we had this month-long hybrid festival at Shockfest AI Revolution Film Festival. We got it. That also was doing a hybrid, and they did something special. They first, all films screened for a month on their online system. And from there, they had, right when it launched, 3 days for your friends and fam to watch and vote. And then they would invite select films to screen live in Vegas. And we were fortunate enough to get
Screen in Vegas.
Screen in Vegas, get accepted. And then we were pleasantly surprised. We were up for 3 nominations: Best Feature, Best Actress, me, and Best Sci-Fi Film. And we won Best Feature Film of the
Go!
That is amazing. Go Sync. Go everyone who built this feature. Yay, team. We did it. Such an incredible achievement. And they had some really cool stuff. They were really trying to be innovative and build this community. So shout out to Shockfest. They did a wonderful job really building, a community. They hosted live Instagrams every Friday and doing announcements. They had a drone giveaway, and they had a party bus, which we missed out on. So, you know, like, very cool.
Perks.
And very, like, we're just so honored. So that was exciting.
Yes. And while we wait for more notifications, we have one more festival coming up at the time of this current recording. So who knows, maybe we'll get even more by the time this is out. But that is Tampa Bay Underground Festival, which is in Florida. Carolina will be attending that one. So we'll let you know how that one goes, fam.
Yeah, shout out to Fam, listener of the pod and Fred and guest of the pod, Stephanie Davis, who mentioned this festival. She is residing. She's a resident of Florida and is a part of the festival, and had enticed us to go and submit, and said that it is a wonderful festival and a great horror cult fan base there. And again, we are looking for those festivals where we can meet other filmmakers, other people who love the kind of genre films that we're making. So I was like, okay, like, say less. We submitted and we got accepted. So I'm super excited to make the trek out there, meet her. So shout out to her and her team for accommodating me traveling there and making Sync a great showing time. It's going to screen in an also real theater. Guys, there's festivals out there that don't screen in like actual theaters, and this is part of your research because, like, you might end up in someone's backyard, and you don't do that. Like, don't submit to that. But you know, with the hybrid fest and stuff, it's just always such a treat when you get to see your film play out with the DCP and like just on the big screen. So I'm super excited.
Exactly. So that catches you guys kind of up on our festival journey. And right now, oh, go ahead.
yeah, not I want so with awards and nominations, the thing I wanted to circle back to, you guys, and it's important because you can list not only your award wins but your nominations on IMDb and credit yourself and your film. It's a whole thing. Oh, maybe that'll be a good Patreon breakdown of like
Ooh, yeah.
how to do that, because it's not as it's tricky. There's some tricky things. Yeah, that's a good Patreon. We'll save it for that. So sign up. Because yeah, it's great not only on IMDb, but of course on your social media. Anytime you get nominated, like announce that. That's a great honor. And you can include all those things in your electronic press kit that I've also made for us using Canva. You know, guys, it's just Canva Queen.
Canva
But you can do it
Queen.
too. Anyone can be a Canva Queen. It's there. And funny enough, we have not, maybe because we haven't been to like the prestigious festivals yet, but we have not been asked for an electronic press kit. So what I'm using it for is sending it out to distribution people or new people that can like don't know us at all. Like it's just a really great package to have handy, and you can upload it to your Film Freeway profile as well. So
Exactly.
there's that.
As far as distribution, it could be a whole episode on its own or another Patreon exclusive, perhaps. But we'll just kind of mention briefly where we are in the process, because we are looking for distribution for Sync. We've looked into options that are more towards self-distribution, but not fully like, just putting it on our website for people to buy, having still a distributor involved. And we've also looked at like the classic route. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot that goes into that. But essentially for us, the most important thing is to get as many eyeballs on Sync as possible. This is our first feature. We don't have names attached. We have a very small budget. And we understand that big distributors are looking for kind of more than that, right? But we also think that we have a really great product that could do really well on streamers. So we're looking for something that's going to push it out there. It's going to make a little money. We're not going to be turning a huge profit on this, but like that's the goal, is to be able to show like, hey, we landed distribution. We made some profit on it. Like, look what we can do. And then as many people that can watch Sync as possible.
Yeah, that's a great summary of what our distribution hell has been. Something that has kind of launched our process into figuring out our strategy and like what all goes into it is the deliverable side. And that is something you don't learn, I don't think necessarily even in film school. Like we didn't go to film school, but no one really talks about. So just to shed some light on that, if you weren't aware, when you get into festivals, you need something like a DCP, which allows your film to play in theaters. That's something I think a lot of other filmmakers don't realize. Then there's the distribution costs, because think about it. If you needed to format your film to go to a theater, you're going to need to format the film to go on a streamer. And different streamers are going to have different requirements and legalities. And this is the stuff that Tess and I have been dealing with. It's figuring out like, okay, we got a quote for $15K. We'll tell you right now, that's pretty high. I think if you get of like what all these things could cost, but you might not need all these different things, and you might be able to find cheaper resources that can still give you what you need, like captions. There's rev.com. There's definitely we can definitely go into a whole talk on that, but just know like we can't give you a number yet what we're spending on it, but I think you could probably find something, a middle ground between 3 to 10K, depending on how big your film is, where it lands, and the different rights. Like Tess and I, we built Sync in a way that we knew we wouldn't run into a lot of issues, right? We were like small cast and crew. That we are the stars. We are very demanding, right, in our contracts. It's an original story. We avoided any like issues with like using likeness of companies or things. And that's the stuff you do in pre-production, right? To make sure you don't have issues now in distribution where it's like, oh, you didn't license that or this, and original sound scores and things like that. You do that kind of work in pre-production, you're not going to have as many issues and legalities and lawyer paperwork. That's like where the time ends up going and the costs. So these are the kinds of things you want to take care of in pre-production. So that way your distribution legal work is at a minimum. And because that's where those costs start to incur, right? When you're spending so much time having lawyers look over paperwork, draw up new contracts, make sure everyone signs a contract, guys. Like, do that in pre-production. Come on, do that.
Yeah.
Get your W-9s. Get your W-9s. Get all the 9s. Get everyone contracted. Make sure. And what can happen is that there could be certain legal terms that weren't included. That's what we're learning. Like, oh, like maybe we missed something. But that'll be less of an issue, right? So I think that's something we could advise if you're starting pre-production, is to think about all those things. What can I avoid for distribution? Because for instance, another example, I knew if we get foreign distribution, like we're going to have a little bit of a headache because I have Polish burned in subtitles, and we're going to it's gonna be a little extra work for us and a little extra cost, but also international distribution is really hard, and I think our main focus is domestic. So forget about it. It's all good. It's all good. We'll cross that bridge.
It's the same as everything, honestly, with filmmaking, is do as much in pre as you can. Everyone says fix it in post. No, fix it in pre. And that includes the legal stuff. Yeah. So look into that, before you even start making the movie, like how much of a headache can you save yourself from the beginning? And then once the movie is made and it is coming time to get your deliverables together, look at what you actually need. Look at what platforms you want to get on and what they require. Look into these distribution companies that you want to work with and what they specifically require. And then once you have like a basic list of, okay, I have this already, I'm definitely going to need this no matter what. I only need this if I go with this company or whatever. Then start looking at where you can get these things from, because again, we got a quote from a company that we thought was a little much for us. Talk to an entertainment lawyer. Look into, like, there are websites. What's the Clearance Lab, for example, for copyright? Like, there are websites out there where you can do these things yourself. And trust me, not everything you want to do DIY. Sometimes you do need an entertainment lawyer, but there are simple things you can do yourself for much less money.
Yeah. I want to highlight E&O insurance. That's something that came up for us that we're figuring out. Do we need to take it? Purchase it right now. It's about $3,500. That's a lot of money. And a streamer like Netflix is probably the ones that are going to ask for it. So why not cross that bridge? Like, we're learning, like, why not spend the money if we know we're going to get money back from a streamer like Netflix? So it's things like that where I guess advice is also like, don't feel like you have to get everything all at once up front. Work it out with your distributor. They should be willing to be patient with you. If they're not, that's a red flag. And so, those are the conversations we're starting to have with distributors. And we're looking into self-distribution sites like Film Hub, which we've so far received a lot of positive reviews. So if you're an indie filmmaker looking to have a platform that will push your film out into like all over, they will kind of push it out, but you maintain the rights, look at Film Hub. We've heard a lot of great things.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Just do your research. Ask other filmmakers. We joined a Facebook group, for instance, that gave a lot of feedback on distributors. Like, just talk to your friends and your circle and the people you admire, and pay attention to what films you're watching. They're always going to list like that distribution company and production companies and all of that in the beginning. Well, usually in the beginning, as doesn't have to be in the beginning, but it's going to be listed somewhere. So pay attention to that, like movies that you admire, or, oh, this and this and this and this is all made by this company, so they must really like these kinds of films, or, there's a lot of clues there that you can really garner which companies are going to make sense for your film.
Yeah. It's IMDb Pro. You will, as a filmmaker, once you're kind of on the circuit journey, you probably if you're in pre-production, you're probably already on it. So that's a great tool to use too, to kind of research and reviews. But as Tessa said, honestly, for us, because those are still like bigger films that you're seeing in the theaters and all of that jazz, ask your friends who are indie filmmakers who have similar budgets and understand kind of where your film is at. Because that was what was hard for us. We're like, okay, we know like the quality of our film is immaculate, and like it's a really great film. We're so proud of it. We know that it's like literally called no budget, but it was a decent enough budget. So we were like, where does it feel fair? And as Tessa said, it to start the conversation, kind of learn quickly without named talent and named talent and God damn it, and you know, some that kind of thing. It's harder to get like the big distro deal. So then where do you want to see your film go, and where do you want to see it make money if that's important to you? Because a lot of these contracts, we'll have to do another podcast on that. Like 15 years, and then never seen your film because they use it all on marketing, quote unquote, and all these expenses that they had to do for 15 years. So guess what? You've seen nothing. So like, there's a lot to say there. And that's what we're learning. We're having talks with filmmakers to understand that, because it's just something that isn't taught. And, you know, we're fortunate to have this wonderful community where we can share these kinds of things.
Absolutely. And to kind of wrap that all up, I know we had mentioned a couple of things that were like, we could dive way deeper into this, you know, this will be on a future episode, etc. We are currently on a hiatus, as we mentioned, because Sync is keeping us very busy. Not to mention we have full-time jobs and lives and all of these things, you know, the joys of being an independent filmmaker. But I mean, it's seriously like, we are so excited to be in this. So we ask for your patience as we are not releasing new episodes right now. We're not quite sure when we're going to return right now, but if you're really craving information, again, join us on Patreon, because we have exclusive content there as well. And I'm sure we'll probably maybe do some episodes specifically for Patreon, now that I'm realizing how many things we could really get into in detail. So join us over there at patreon.com/femregard. And you can subscribe for whatever amount. There's different tiers there. There'll be a monthly subscription that'll gain you access to exclusive content. We have exclusive downloads, we have merch, we have all kinds of stuff on there. And that all goes straight into our production piggy bank. So all of these things that we're telling you we're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on, that is coming out of that. So thank you guys to our current Patreon subscribers, our patrons. And yeah, join us over there for even more content. And also, if you aren't already following us, if you are new to our podcast and our company, we are FemRegard Productions. And this is, again, Sync is our current big project that we're working on, but we have a lot of other stuff in our catalog, and we're always active in the community. We're always promoting different classes and all kinds of different stuff. So the best way to keep up with us really is to join our newsletter, which you can find at femregard.com. Little pop-up will happen as soon as you get to the homepage. Just enter in your email there. We usually email out about like monthly-ish, and then we've also been announcing these festivals as they come about. So I promise we won't spam you, but we're going to keep you updated with what we're doing and our progress, as well as other stuff that's coming up, different classes, different shows, all that kind of stuff that we want to promote for our film community. Yeah. And other great ways on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can find us a lot of places. Instagram is where we're the most active. So we have two pages. We have at FemRegard and we have at the movie SYNC, just in case. But yeah, recommend that you follow us there, because that's where we have like the most up-to-date things, most detailed things. And it's also a great way to make connections with people in our community. If you're a filmmaker yourself, we've connected multiple people that we've gotten to know. So that's always exciting for us. Again, you can find us on Facebook, just FemRegard Productions. You can find us on TikTok, FemRegard TV. Am I missing any platforms? I think that's it. Depending where you're listening or watching the podcast right now, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on YouTube. Like, it's hard not to find us, you guys. Just Google FemRegard and you'll find us somewhere.
Yes, 1000%. We are pretty much everywhere. But as Tessa said, please follow us on socials. That supports us and our film. And that's kind of where you're going to get to see and hear from us the most. And then our newsletter would be like the second best. They get updates actually, I think, a little bit more sooner and have better info with like ticket info, like anything for the events that are coming on. It's a little easier to like click around and sign up for things that are happening. So I really encourage you to sign up there. But yeah, our DMs are always open as always. This is right around the time of Thanksgiving and Christmas. So happy holidays, everyone. Wow, what a tremendous year for us. So we're just so grateful. I feel like I would just want to end this episode on a note of gratitude, because it doesn't go unnoticed that through our community, we're able to really shine and have a voice as women in film. That's extremely challenging, and you guys really gave us a voice. So I'm super grateful for that. Grateful for the contributions, the support, and yeah, I don't want to cry. So like that's where I'm at.
Basically just like we love you guys.
Yeah.
And again, even if we're not releasing weekly episodes, our DMs are always open, our inbox is always open. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We might be a little too busy to respond in that moment, but I promise you we will get back to you.
Yes, I 100% agree. We are so of the mind of like give advice, give back in any way we can, and I think just those conversations have truly helped us and navigate festivals and what the people we've reached out to, so we understand how important that is. And so if we don't answer right away, ping us a week later if we still didn't respond, and we will get back to you and try to help you with any questions that you have. So appreciate y'all and have a fabulous season, y'all. And
Yes,
take
have a
care,
great
and
holiday.
we will let you know the new and latest things that are coming up for us in the new year. It's crazy to say.
I know. We hope you guys can relax and have a great end of your year. And again, follow us. That's how you can keep up with what we're doing. And we'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks for listening to FemRegard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in every Friday for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals. We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and review. You can also join the Fem Fam on Patreon. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.